Okay, final few points here. Act. Oops, I always jump. Okay, yes, we are in the right place. Act personally and collectively to cope with climate change, not just for your own anxiety and distress, but also to help the people who may be seeking help from you, or you're in a position to help them, or you're volunteering to help your community and so on. Act personally and collectively, make climate action an informed choice, engage in personal actions, prioritize actions with high carbon reduction potential, be wary of tokenism and rebound. So you don't just buy a hybrid car and then don't worry about all the other things you are doing. For example, some calculations show that even if you're driving an SUV and are a vegetarian, you could have a lower carbon footprint than somebody who is driving a hybrid or an EV but eating a lot of meat, for example. So there is a portfolio you have to worry about. Be wary of tokenism in that sense. Engage in group actions. Sense of community and belonging with a common goal always helps. Doing something to reduce your carbon footprint is a significant coping strategy, so that you are aware of what you are yourself are doing. Again, don't get anxious. If you fly for some reason, flying is good for cultural exchange, for visiting nice places. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but you can always avoid unnecessary flying, and you can reduce your carbon footprint from other activities once you fly. Okay, so try to keep yourself within a range. 5 to 10 tons per person is very useful. Right now there is a large range of footprints based on whether you are in Europe or US or China or India or Africa and so on. Eventually maybe everybody will come to some number which will be, let's say, around 10, as was suggested by the book How Bad Are Bananas. I have podcasts on that book as well if you want to follow up. Time is now. Show that it's here, now, and for sure. Show that climate change is personal and affects you and I. Show that climate change is happening now, not just in the future. Show that climate change is happening in your local area, not just elsewhere. I'm not able to take my family camping in the summer holidays anymore as the bushfire risks are too great. So that's a personal value or personal favorite activity of yours that's getting affected. I love my family, but I'm worried about the impact of climate change on my elderly father. He doesn't cope well with extreme weather. Now you're worrying about a personal family member. My mates and I haven't been able to go fishing as much, which we love, because the river has changed so much. So you can always find something you really value and see how that is being affected by climate change, and what you can do about it, and what your community can do about it, what your family can do about it. Ask, what do you love that is threatened by climate change? Is it surfing? Is it family itself with health impacts? Is it the bush that you go visiting, hiking, nature visit and bird watching, or whatever? To counter the sense that climate change is only a distant threat, we need to show people that climate change is relevant to them and that it threatens their health, families, communities, jobs, or other things they deeply care about. Okay, a word of caution in linking extreme weather events and climate change. Every time a flood, a drought, a heavy rain event happens, landslides, whatever, climate change is always mentioned. What is the caveat? Social scientists argue that making links between extreme weather events and climate change is a way of building awareness and conviction around climate change, because the weather events are personal, emotional, can be seen, felt, and lived through. They can help climate change feel more real and salient. Critically, though, personal experiences of extreme weather events per se do not change climate change beliefs and behavior. Ultimately, behavioral change is very tricky, very difficult, cognitive biases and all, and there is always a sense that maybe it doesn't affect me, or maybe it's too far in the future. Any increase in psychological adaptation and behavioral engagement, such as action, requires crucial perception and attribution that climate change was a probable contributing cause of the weather event. Also, there is a risk that using extreme weather events as a proxy for climate change trivializes and normalizes the problem, and in fact climate change is much more than just extreme weather events. It's wholly unprecedented, cataclysmic, continuous global disaster, and it exacerbates all other problems around the world. Well, the other idea of perception attribution, there is a group that does world weather attribution, world weather I think it's called World Extreme Event Attribution or so, which says, let's say, the heat wave in Uttar Pradesh in India was doubled or increased by 200% by climate change. What is the consequence of such attribution exercise? What are the uncertainties in this? Is it guaranteed that it was 200%? Was it 60%, 100%, 150, or 200? What is the uncertainty? And what is supposed to happen with this information? Are investors supposed to run away saying this is getting worse and worse and I shouldn't invest here? Are farmers supposed to give up farming and leave? So you have to have the next step to say how to deal with it. So just attribution for me is not at all a good idea, especially considering the uncertainties in the way we do it. Okay, I won't go into the detail because I have other podcasts which describe how attribution is done, and I have articles arguing that just claiming certain things with so much uncertainty can be actually a detrimental thing to actual people on the ground. Okay, engage with nature, spend time in nature, seek out a wide range of experiences of nature, value what remains. It's well known that greenery and nature improve well-being, which means your performance, whether it's studying, job performance, health, etc., will get better. A strong relationship with nature gives rise to a motivation towards environmentally responsible behavior. When you see something, partake in it, enjoy it, value it, you are likely to try to protect it. Okay, so what are the conclusions? Addressing climate change is an essential and urgent task if we are to have a chance of restoring a safe climate for humans and other species, especially for the young ones who will grow up with climate change. Those who are born since 2000, let's say, have not seen anything but climate change. Climate change is as much a psychological and social problem as it is an environmental or ecological mega disaster, and the insights of psychologists and other social scientists into how people are responding to it and how to help people cope and adapt to its consequences are critically important. The 8 insights on Activate that we talked about gathered together in this document are designed to help with the 2 vital tasks of coping and doing. Agency, if you are willing and able to act, do you have an opportunity to act? Addressing and managing our internal environment and responses, how we think and feel about climate change and our level of self-efficacy, and addressing our actions in the external world, what we can and should do to restore a safe climate. Let's get activated. So let me go back and show the summary slide again about Activate to conclude the series of this series of podcasts. So here we are, Activate, 8 psychological strategies to tackle climate change. Acknowledge feelings, create norms, talk about it, inspire positive visions, value it, act. Time is now, and engage with nature. Obviously a bit made up just to make the acronym, but hey, all the points are made and made well. So obviously very useful for me to record it, and maybe helpful for you to listen to it and talk about it as well to your kids, neighbors, friends, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let me leave this here. Oops, I don't know what the next topic is, but we'll come back. And what happened here? Okay, I somehow pushed the window out of the screen. Okay, let's see. Let's meet in the next podcast on some other topic. Okay.